Okay, here's another video for me YouTube peoples. It's also one from my website as well. After giving these locos a run today, these are the HO scale Lima N.S.W C38, and as you can see I've got the 4 of them all lined up here. And if you go in order, 3801, for which there were 5 of these built in full size. And then after the first 5 were built in the streamlined form, the remaining 25 of these ended up as standard versions. Even though this Lima 38 here is numbered 30, as Lima did all of them in 3830, that will become 3813, which is up in Dorrigo, New South Wales, in bits. One day it may be put back together, but that was something that happened many years ago when the New South Wales Railways decided to pull it apart, decided not putting it back together. 3820 is also preserved and in the New South Wales Rail Transport Museum at Thirlmere, southern New South Wales, and that's how she looks in today's terms, complete and in black but with red lining. And then Lima had the forethought to actually number it 3820 and 3830, which is also preserved, also down at Thirlmere at the Rail Transport Museum, and also actually owned by the Powerhouse Museum Sydney. With this last 38 in this lot here, that's one of my rebuilds I've done back in the 1980s. Gave it proper wire or brass wire handrails and slightly rebuilt it. I've added the bracketing to the air compressor and number 7 KD to the front, and I tried to rebuild the steps but don't look as good as I should. At the time, 3830 was the first of these locos I had got. 3801 was the second of the locos I'd got, also in standard form. The top cowling and cone was that from Finecraft scale models, and then the rest of it is a complete rebuild and modification. Now, for those who like to drill over these, something to note: the safety valves up here, that's how they're supposed to be, and the little black dot here you see on the left hand corner is actually the exhaust for the steam generator. As you can see here on the firebox and cab, I've still got to modify the driver's side cab window at the front, but as you see I haven't actually modified this part of the cab. That little box down here on the running board should not be there. I've done that to 3830, should have done it to 3801 back in the 80s but didn't. So hopefully during 2017 I might do a thing on my website and a series of YouTube videos stripping these down, showing how to take them apart and modifying them to what they should be. So, common thing with these 38s, if you're buying one second hand, this is the Lima brand I'm talking about, cab roof, the back section usually always comes in either damaged, broken off completely, a bit like this one, or somehow completely stuffed up. Standard for these to have silver roofs. Even 3820 did have a silver roof. This was just brought out as a model in black roof, but mind you, after all the silver was tarnished by smoke, you couldn't really always tell. So that's the cab roof side of it. Standard for Lima to have the 3 safety valves. I actually added a white metal steam generator. I think it was done by Detail Parts or whatever it was called at the time, but whether you can still buy these steam generators, it's something I'm not too sure of because I haven't looked into it for a while, but they are easy enough to make. See down here I've modified the side of the firebox and put the reversing rod. Goes into the power reverser which Lima have cast into the bodywork. but that's how it should look on this side. Again, I've never done the driver's cockpit window, but there should be a little box form around that front window. I've added the loco cab numbers to the side as it should be. Kept the emblem for the New South Wales rail, which is also provided by Lima on the tender as well. For the standard version, double lining, red outer, yellow inner. When I do the 3820 with its black lining, that'll have a single red line, very similar to the one here in the background. 13 will end up staying like this. Of course I want to modify the tender, of course. I'll show you that in a moment. But I'll have to modify this particular area of the loco, as I've done for 3830, which is there. And 3801 will also have to have the same treatment done to the same location. Part of the modification is a rear trailing truck as well. That's how it should look. 3830 has the same. But if you look down here, Lima have done it slightly incorrect. So 3813 and 20 have to have their trailing trucks rebuilt, modified, as 3801 and 30 have it. Now what I've also done with these, I actually have put the foot plates between the loco and tender using a piece of scrap brass. But this one's come off again, so it's in its box. If you look around here at the front of the locos, what Lima do, they actually put all this excess nonsense down the front because the chassis are usable for the French and German locos, which have excess cylinders inside the chassis area. It may not be too clear on these shots. You can perhaps just see it here underneath 3813, well it says 30 at the moment, but it will be changed to 13. You can see underneath the smoke box there, because another thing that you'll find with Lima 38, the air compressor's missing. Usually broken off, lost or something like that. So that's common. Another common thing is the top of the headlight's usually dented flat. That's from these locos hitting the bloody deck. So like this one, that's hit the deck long before I got it. That's standard damage to the front of these locos. See on number 30 I've put brass handrails. Try to do a bit of super detailing. But I also took off the extra cylinders and put a air tank in underneath like it should have. Another lot of common damage you find is these shunter steps missing. That's the reason I tried to make them on this one. Thankfully 3820 looks like it's still got its one, and this one, which will become 3813, has at least one complete one on the driver's side, which is in this case right hand side near the 30, but the fireman's side where the 38 reads, it's missing its lower step. So they're common damages that you find on these second hand. All use the ring-filled motors, and all gear driven onto the rear axle only, and then rod driven to the centre and leading axles. Oops, dropped my bloody camera almost. So yeah, that's 4 Lima C38s of the New South Wales Rail, and I'll go through these in a bit more detail soon. But another common thing you will find, and if I just drag this forward, you look at the tender as Lima bring them out, all this extra nonsense on the back, twin hatches, etc. They're incorrect. I've rebuilt this one to be correct. Now, something else we'll find about the Lima 38s. This one does have the correct rear bogies. Yeah, it's got the camera in the correct position now. They're about 6'6" for memory. Axle centre to centre. Lima doing about 6 foot. So Lima's also done the incorrect details on the back of the tenders. So this one here, as you can see, is modified with a ladder, brass ladder at that. Okay, my attempt at doing 3801 by using a very fine paintbrush. That's basically as I did it back in 1980 area, but the lining's correct, and all it has on the back are 2 running lights as per standard. The way Lima have done it is this, I don't know, bad attempt at casting ladders and all this other detail that doesn't belong there. Even the running lights are incorrect on that. That's Lima. You see how the top deck detail is? That's incorrect. The correct details are more that. So if you're looking at details for modelling the 38s and you got an old Lima 38, that's the detail you should have. Data sheets by Greg Edwards in Canberra. Look them up on the Kev's Workshop website in the links page, and you should be able to contact Greg Edwards and grab a set of data sheet drawings, which I'll show you in a moment. Looking across here, you see I've done 3830s tender as well back in the day. That was my first attempt at modifying. 3801 was my second attempt, and 3820 and 13 I'm going to get hopefully a makeover in 2017, all going well. Okay, now following on from here, excusing some of this rubbish I've got different projects on the go at any given time. That's the, do it this way. This is drawn by Greg Edwards. This shows you all the details that you need. This is just one of 2 of his plans. This one's like it's printed up on plastic, but he gave a lot of great detail in these. And even though this is to me a rare copy, the actual copy you can get comes out like this. So just bear with me a sec while I move some of this rubbish out of the way. Oops, point the camera all over the joint here. Bit of a pain having a small workshop and a lot of things on the go. With Greg's drawings, they do come with photographs. So there's the 3806, if I'm correct. It's the first of the non-streamlined. 3801 as delivered was in grey, and after a few trial runs and stuff, she went back in the shops, got painted green, came back out, re-emerged in the green and yellow livery. There are different liveries for it over the era, but this shows, if we get this lighting sorted, some of the details that you need to have. And what a lot of people don't model is this little pointy part at the top. And in full size there is actual hollow cut out here for the air compressor to recess into. So when you do the model, you'll need to have a cutout for the air compressor to fit in. 3801 is currently a project of restoration by the New South Wales Rail Transport Museum, 3801 Limited, Powerhouse Museum and the New South Wales Government. In 2016 it's supposed to have been back on the rails, but due to boiler issues of trying to get it rebuilt and other issues, it's been put back to hopefully 2017 to come back into service. Some of Greg's details that he puts in, and some brilliant information, so you can see how it's supposed to look, unlike how Lima produced them. And he also puts in the half plan view so you can see what it looked like through the chassis and through the bodywork. So if you ever get to go onto me Kev's Workshop website, you go in the links page, look up data sheets. That's the quality of drawing that you'll no doubt get. These are worth $6.60 each, these sheets, but they are valuable to any modeller. Unfortunately, just trying to get this lighting to react with this camera. That shows you what it looked like through the chassis and everything else. So DJH have brought out a kit many years ago, very well detailed, as good as a drawing, but something even far superior to what Lima brought out. Eureka Models also make these in HO scale if you want to pay the top dollar, but if you are a bit like me, a bit broke, and you can only afford to buy off eBay something like a Lima 38 for $100, you're doing well. By comparison, let's give you a bit of a sneak into here. There's a Lima 38, Lima 38. It's a live steam 38 class tender in 3.5 inch scale, and the loco is hiding under here. So one day that will be a project that might get finished. I've had too many other priorities and not enough money to work on this project. So when that 3.5 inch 38 is complete and back into steam, I will be stoked, to say the least. So there you go, bit of a quick rundown here on the 38s. And for anyone contemplating taking one of these apart for repairs or servicing, there's usually a flat blade screw that you'll see down in the chimney. You remove those screws and the smoke box area comes off, separate to the rest of the body. What I have done with my 38s, with the exception of 38, 13 and 20 at this stage, that's where the tender and loco connect, but I have cut a slot into the tow bar pin. It's not the correct title, but hey well. So with the pin, you can put a flat blade screwdriver in, unwind that pin, that releases the body from the chassis. That's all that holds the two together. So once you've got the drawbar pin and you get the screw removed, so one at the top, one at the bottom, bingo, body comes off in two sections, the smoke box and the main body itself. So hopefully these two here in the middle, those two there will have to be a subject in 2017 of the Kev's Workshop website, and hopefully on YouTube to show how to rebuild them and maybe do a bit of maintenance or whatever else. But these all four of these locos run absolutely gorgeous, so silky smooth. Just remember, if you're into model railways and your loco is running a bit rough, a bit crap, check the wheels for electrical conductivity. If they're filthy, they've got to be cleaned. If the motor is running a little bit rough, a bit tight, could do a bit of lubrication, contacts cleaning, maybe new motor brushes. So yeah, anything like that. But yeah, certainly if you need to, just give me an email, go via my Kev's Workshop website, go to the contacts page. I've got 2 email addresses you can email me on. All for now, catch ya.